Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars.
Sound Cartel.
The idea of upcycling or purchasing imperfect products was alive and well prior to the pandemic, but since and at scale, it's being referred to as the circular economy. And with the likes of Officeworks jumping on board, it's worth taking note. From Sound Cartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. Imagine being able to divert 4.3 million kilograms of goods from landfill. Well, that's just one of the positive changes Yasmin Grigaliunas and her team have been able to make. Yas is the founder and newly minted chief evangelist of Circonomy, formerly known as the world's biggest garage sale. It's a profit-for-purpose business dedicated to reviving second-hand products to impact positively on the environment. With grit, determination and bursting with entrepreneurial spirit, Yasmin's also been the winner of a slew of awards over the last few years, including making the Global 100 Inspirational Leaders list in January of 2022. Just an incredible achievement, and no surprise when you hear her story. In fact, so impressed was Officeworks with Yasmin and the business that in February this year they acquired a 21% stake. A true partnership that Yas describes as a love story. I spoke to Yasmin while she was at the Social Enterprise World Forum in Brisbane, and she begins by explaining more about the circular economy and its importance.
The circular economy is where we are eliminating the take, make, waste economy. So you imagine taking a resource from the ground, making a product from it, and then using that product, and eventually in the linear economy, we waste that product. We throw it out, we get rid of it, we sit it in a cupboard, it lies idle, dormant, underutilised, and often wasted. And eventually it'll end up somewhere buried again, back in the very ground we ripped it out of. What the linear economy is really ending, because the circular economy is the future of how we will build a more stable and sustainable economy. So instead of taking and making and wasting resources, we go from things that have been taken and made in the past and now looking at them with a different lens. How might we utilise the resources that already exist in this product to then remake, reuse, repair, repurpose, remanufacture, replenish, and eventually re-commerce, resell, or redistribute these products so that we're not continuously digging from the ground and reburying these products, but we're actually having these products remain circulated in the economy. So for us, as a business, we didn't discover the circular economy. We have been working in this industry for a number of years. But when we saw that globally the waste problem was in the very many millions, billions and trillions of dollars, we knew that there needed to be both a commercial and a community impact for circular economy. And we know that the future is circular. We must use the things we already have on our earth in order to sustain the longevity for the world, really.
Yeah. What do you think the role of business is in the circular economy? Is the idea of corporate social responsibility and triple bottom line accounting enough anymore?
Look, I think they are absolutely good markers to have initial discussions about and for. And you'll hear about ESG, CSR, and even SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, of which there are 17. And these are in order to be able to deliver on impact, these sustainable development goals have been designed so that we can continue to build a better world without consuming so much. So I think that the markers are there for businesses, but where we can really get, I suppose, into the meaty outputs and outcomes is when we don't necessarily think we must do things perfectly in order to actually begin. So the circular economy is the perfect place for triple bottom line to start to be experimented with more actively. And as a business, we say often, and I say often as a founder, less yap, more tap. So we can talk about it, but we must walk about it. And rather than let perfection stand in the way of progress, just execute on something small that might not be exactly what we want it to be. But the wonderful thing about the circular economy, triple bottom line, ESG, CSR, and SDGs, and all the other acronyms that exist in this economy now, is that it's not perfect and it's okay. And we just need to begin.
With that in mind then, tell us about World's Biggest Garage Sale. What sparked the idea back in 2013?
Look, I will admit to not even thinking about circular economy back in 2013. It was all about how do we make money without asking people for money, because we were raising money for a charity at the time, really passionate about cancer research. It was close to my heart as a daughter of a mother who got cancer very young. And so we thought, how do we make money without asking people for money? That was the initial question. And when we answered that with, let's have a world's biggest garage sale, I mobilised my own assets and products at home that were laying idle, and I theorised my friends could give me their assets and we could, mobilise their products. And eventually the world's biggest garage sale became what I thought was the world's biggest garage sale, and we sold $15,000 in a single day.
Wow.
But all I could think about at the time, and I'm quite driven and intense and desirable in terms of delivering outputs and outcomes, and that's very founder-like, and that entrepreneurial spirit in me could only think, how do we do this better? And then for the next couple of years, I just, as a little hobby, did World's Biggest Garage Sales. But eventually it was in 2017, after raising hundreds of thousands of dollars and impacting so much around people and planet, I thought this is actually a business opportunity that can be commercially amazing, but also community impactful. Jobs and impact, triple bottom line, and to really build a social enterprise that was going to, I want to say disrupt, but it's more like erupt the way we do business. So using business as a force for good. And it wasn't long after jumping ship and becoming the founder of World's Biggest Garage Sale back in 2017 that I knew we would be bigger. And I'm really proud that today we actually just formally announced our evolution to our visionary brand called Circonomy, which is the brand we knew back in 2018 that we would eventually become, because we evolved well beyond doing garage sales.
Well, you have indeed, and you and your team have achieved so much since then. Tell us about the impact you've been able to make so far.
Oh, look, I'm so incredibly proud of the team, and often the founder gets this disproportionate level of attention and accolade, which of course is not true. No business gets anywhere without its people. So for me, it's really those original people that volunteered all the way back in 2013, the original activators that came on board in 2017, and every alumni ever since then, and our existing team today. Our impact has spanned so significantly well beyond our business brand of World's Biggest Garage Sale and even now Circonomy, but our impacts in the billions of litres of water saved, in the social impact value for the global economy that's also in the many millions. I know we've diverted now, I think, and counting, over 4 million kilograms of goods diverted from landfill. And we're talking about, 700 plus thousand kilograms of CO2 prevented from entering the Earth's atmosphere. And look, this is just scratching the surface of what we know is possible. And this is absolutely a together is better outcome. We have partners and proactive performers that have absolutely contributed to every single metric that could ever matter. But more importantly, the number of moments that have mattered along the way where lives we have changed because of the work we've done, they're actually the more special things that our business has contributed to.
Yeah, it's quite phenomenal. And so much so that big brands are taking note, because in February this year, Officeworks actually acquired a 21% stake in the business. What makes this a good union, and how will you be supporting each other's efforts?
Look, this is a story. I, as a founder, can get away with it a little bit more than most, but it's a story of love. It's a love story. And our original logo for Garage Sale, World's Biggest Garage Sale, is a love heart. So I feel like I can really go right to the edges of talking about love in business, because Officeworks came to us a few years ago. It was in 2019, and they said, look, can you help us? We've got this challenge. We don't want to send some imperfect products to landfill. And they never once said, take our problem away. They said, how can we work with you and your organisation to do better? We want to do better. And when I started to evaluate Officeworks and look at their values and really dig under the hood a little to see, well, were they just wanting to dump a problem on us, or were they genuinely wanting to enter some sort of cohesive, collaborative partnership? I could see at the surface that this was a partnership in the making. And I said yes to them back when we had like a staff of maybe 4 or 5 people. We were still bootstrapping the business. We were still called World's Biggest Garage Sale, and we were still taking community donations in order to survive and thrive as a business. So when Officeworks said, can we start to work together, and here's our imperfect product that just is returned or gets damaged or just has imperfections that we can't and don't sell in our stores right now, how can we do better? And so we did this beautiful, what I call an anonymity project at the start. We were all about, let's try an experiment pilot together. And after 6 months of piloting together, and we were able to demonstrate that we could divert 98% of the products that flowed to us, that we called surprise chain at the time. So we took surprise chain because you didn't know what was coming, right?
Sure.
There's no manifest or inventory list that says, here's what you're getting today, 500 pens, 1,000 this. None of that happened. It was very much surprise chain, and we turned surprise chain into supply chain. And by doing that, we could demonstrate to Officeworks, well, there was value in this. Our business could make money and therefore create jobs. Their business could save on waste fees and disposal costs, and also more than saving money, they could make an impact and tell stories of impact to their team, delivering on their own CSR and ESG values and being able to really take their team on the journey. Once we could prove that, then it really became this beautiful marriage. I suppose we went from almost a swipe, right? Like an email inquiry swipe to a yes, to a coffee date, to lunch, to dinner, to overnight stays. And I often talk about the love journey is no different to dating. And we went all the way to engagement, marriage, honeymoon, and now we are in this beautiful marriage and long-term relationship of success where they are a shareholder in our business. And this is just such a special story because it's a story where risk and compliance and governance and agility all came together. And I have this little formula that I created for our team. And I explained to our team early on, what we have with Officeworks was this formula. And the formula is agility, a business like ours, and stability, a business like theirs, equals capability. So together we can achieve so much more, and we move fast and they move slower, and it's like the Titanic and the tugboat coming together so that we can really discover opportunities together that alone we might not have otherwise been able to achieve. And I'm so excited. This is like very early press news as well, that just recently I always knew that I did not ever want to be the CEO of our business as we moved forward and scaled. And real founders, true founders, not every founder wants to be the CEO, nor should be. And I definitely don't have an ego around trying to have some sort of title of accolade in my own business. And I am definitely not scale CEO material. It's not what I want to do nor learn. So I absolutely am taking on a new role as Chief Evangelist in our business. And I'm so excited to announce that the original entrepreneur at Officeworks, Ryan Swenson, who believed in us 3.5 years ago and partnered with us as the sustainability lead at Officeworks, is actually taking on board the CEO position at Circonomy, and he starts on the 1st of November. So we now have Ryan Swenson from Officeworks coming into our business. And if that doesn't demonstrate the union of relationship from bigger than a transactional opportunity, but totally deep in a relational connection, that speaks volumes for his leadership for Officeworks as an enterprise, for the Wesfarmers brand in its totality, and also for startups who want to scale up and maybe don't believe that these amazing things can happen. If we can do it as World's Biggest Garage Sale, anybody can do it.
There is so much good news in exactly what you've just said there, Yasmin, and it is no surprise to me then, my next question, that this has actually happened for you. Congratulations, of course, for your inclusion this year on the Global 100 Inspirational Leaders list. I mean, you embody it completely. What was that like?
I have to tell you that this is the funniest story because I had no idea. Like, apparently what they do is they look at thousands of people worldwide and then come up with this top 100 list. And I got this email and I completely dismissed it. I was like, what is this Global 100 Leaders? Sometimes when there's big recognitions like that, there are awards you must pay for, like they're pay-to-play awards. And so I dismissed it at the start, and then I reread it a few days later when I got this reminder. And I'm like, Global 100 Leaders, what is this? And I looked at the list and I saw Jacinda Ardern as number one. And then I saw Richard Branson, Elon Musk, Oprah Winfrey, Greta Thunberg. I'm like, oh my God, am I on this list? And then all the way down it, I'm pretty sure I'm number 91 or something like that. There's me, Yas Grigaliunas, from Australia on this global 100 leaders list. I showed my kids, now I have 2 teenage daughters, and I showed my kids, and I've been a founder and playing in this space for a long time. We do get a lot of accolades and they're really awesome. We get recognised locally a bit because of the work we do. And I showed my kids this list and they're like, oh my God, Mum.
Instant respect.
That is the real deal. Mum, whoa, Mum. Like, we've seen you get your name on things in the past and we always think it's a bit of a joke, but Mum, this is the real deal. And I'm like, oh my God, I just impressed my teenage daughters. I got cred. I'm taking that. So more than the global, I mean, I'm so honoured to be named. And it's an honour to my team and, again, every member that's ever supported us and our vision. But as a founder, you often have to make really tough and crazy and hard and often really gritty, unpretty decisions. And when you see recognition like that for the business that you operate, it really does just make those moments that are hell just that little bit more healing, and it just makes you breathe deeply and say, wow, Jacinda Ardern, we're going to have dinner one day together. And I mean, all of those leaders, they're people that I've admired for all of my life. I've read their books, I've followed their journey. And so to be named alongside them is really humbling, but it's an honour to everybody that's ever believed in me.
Quite phenomenal and completely well-deserved, obviously. Yasmin, you are on such a good thing. What is next for you and Circonomy?
It is absolutely about taking, completely and unapologetically eliminating the take, make, waste economy. It really is time, and that's why Circonomy is such a power brand to really help industries solve their waste problems, to really ensure that the future is circular, and to understand that as a business, this is not all about just us building Circonomy. Our vision is bigger than that. Our vision is not for Circonomy to necessarily go and be this mountainous giant business that independently works. We are all about making circularity the new normal and also creating opportunities for people, both in businesses and also in community, to effectively ensure that nothing useful goes to waste, including human potential. So we are a collaborative brand that will repair, renew, repurpose, and ultimately replenish, re-commerce and redistribute products. But we want to do it in partnership and ensure that we can achieve growth that puts people and planet first. So Circonomy is open for business. We want to work with businesses who don't necessarily know how to do this themselves. We do fit outs for workspaces. We partner with organisations to help them solve their commercial problems. And we also really want to understand how we can continue to help consumers make their purchases more sustainable, and also to add unique pieces to your existing range of furnishings, both in business and in homes, to actively support more sustainable development of our growth economy and ultimately the circular economy.
That was Yasmin Grigaliunas, founder and chief evangelist at Circonomy. Business Essentials Daily is a Sound Cartel podcast. Producers are Nick Schildberger, Chris Ashmore, Jeff Waters and myself. Technical production by Pete Letts. I'm Nicole Goodman. Thanks for listening. We'll bring you more Be Daily next week.
Sound Cartel.
This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.